Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are watching this. This is Sam Prentice Makes Things Happen. My name is Sam Prentice and I'm back once again making it happen. And today I've got a new product that I want to be putting into one of my 3D printers. And I'm quite excited about this. Let's hit the button. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the BIGTREETECH E3 RRF version 1.1 for Ender3, Ender3 Pro and Ender5. It's a replacement board or upgrade board from BIGTREETECH. It's their very latest board, in fact, coming straight out of the factory. So let's just have a little open up here and see what we've got inside. Oh, look everybody, little BIGTREETECH duck. There we go. Anyway, we'll put him over there. We've got a little card. Let's see what's on this card, actually. Don't normally look. Oh, it's a load of links. Okay, so we've got a BIGTREETECH card. We've got this little cable here. Look at that. Exciting stuff. And, of course, we have this particular motherboard. Now then, what's so special about this particular motherboard? Well, several things, I'm hoping, at least anyway. Let's pull this out. Okay, let's drop that down there. And we're just going to pop this onto here. This is a plug-and-play motherboard for the Ender series 3D printers. I don't think it does the V2, but I imagine it probably will do the Pro, and it will do... This is quite nifty, actually. This is quite nice. So on the back here, we've got an ESP8266 module, which is for Wi-Fi. And this board, it comes preloaded with the RepRapFirmware, and that's pre-installed. But we're going to be running Marlin on that on this case. And again, if you check out the links below, it should push you towards where you not only can buy one of these, but also where you can find the firmware for this as well. It's got an STM32F407 ARM 32-bit Core 4 processor, if that means anything to you. Maybe you're getting very excited if you're a super nerd for this kind of stuff. But it also comes with non-replaceable, that's 4 non-replaceable TMC 2209s, which run in UART mode, which is across here. Also, the other thing you'll notice on here, it has got an additional port. So if you want to plug another Z motor in, it will run off one single driver, but ultimately you get 2 for 1. So, you know, I'm quite happy with that. And it's got things like sensorless homing on it and all that kind of crazy stuff that we love. So, whew, I'm excited. Oh, here we go. We've also got a little Wi-Fi module aerial. And we've got a couple of jumpers as well. There's a ton of options that you can put into this. And I'm looking to build the ultimate Ender, which I'm going to be calling the Happy Ender 3.1. So, there's only a couple of things that I really need to say about this. Number one, I need to pick an Ender. And I think I'm probably not going to go for a Pro. I think I'm going to go for an older style, the original 3. So with this series of Happy Ender 3.1 shows, I'm going to basically show you how I'm going to be upgrading this, and I'm going to be picking some of the most outrageous upgrades that you can do to your Ender 3 just because I can. Why not? So this is a brand new board from BIGTREETECH. It should be plug and play. I've also got myself, where is it? Aha, yes, a TFT 35 as well, and I've got an old I've got this in a package of stuff that I got from BIGTREETECH, which is the USB thing, whatever that is, and I've also got some filament runout sensors and all that kind of stuff. So there's a couple of things that I do have here, guys. I do have one of their little TFT modules, which I've had for a little while, and also I've got one of these little UPS backup things that I got some time ago. I've got my leads ready, and I'm looking forward to doing this. This should be quite interesting. Let's get the Ender in, shall we? Oh, here it is. Little printer. Little printer. This is from Comgro. It's a refurbished printer, and if you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know that I have been pushing them as of late, and there's links in the description if you want to buy one of these. They are super cheap because obviously, as you already know, Creality have been celebrating their 7th birthday, which means one thing: all the printing prices go right the way down as the new products come onto the market. So this is probably about 100 quid's worth of 3D printer. It might be less if you find it in the right place. It might even be less if you're buying a refurbished printer as well. But check out my links in the description below for Comgro, and maybe I'll chuck a couple of Creality ones in there as well. But these are super cheap. The upgrades that I've done on this so far are kind of limited. There's basically 2. I've upgraded the springs. Actually, I haven't even upgraded the springs in this. Okay, what I should have done is upgraded the springs, which is a big thing that I'm working with all my printers at the moment in here. And I've also stuck a glass bed on this as well. The reason for that is because I'm kind of old school with this kind of stuff. The PTE, PFE, all those kind of flatbeds and all the crap that those people are involved with. I don't do tape, I just do glass and I do mirrors. That's it. That's all I want on this. And I find that it adheres really well. I use a product called 3D Lac. Again, stick the links in the description. And this thing deserves more. Let's start at the very beginning, shall we? We're going to basically disassemble it. So I'm going to need some tools. Well, the things I don't like about this printer straight off are the fact that it's quite a small printer still. It doesn't have the Meanwell 24 volt power supply, but it does have a 24 volt power supply, which is made by God only knows. I didn't like the fact that on the Pros that you can get your hands in underneath either. Everything is kind of 1998. It's like old versions of Windows. It's not particularly pleasant or sexy. It is what it is. It's there to do a job, but I did not like the Z axis. I always felt that should have been 2 Zs, but of course that was the CR10's thing, because of course the first CR10 only had 1 Z axis as well. Then they upgraded it to 2, and then it goes crazy, and there's build touches and all that kind of other craziness as well. So I got this particular board on an early bird deal. I think it was about 20 quid. It wasn't very expensive. It's taken about 2 or 3 weeks to arrive, and it's obviously finally here. It actually arrived today via Royal Mail. They posted it through my letterbox, and I was so delighted when I saw it for the very first time, and I jumped up and down. And then I thought, I wonder if anyone's made a video on this yet. And I didn't see one. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to jump straight on this and see if I can get in there first for a change. So it's very quiet. It's eerily quiet. I've got no 3D printers switched on at the moment. I've been doing a few bits and pieces with upgrades today and filming and stuff. So I just thought for a few minutes I might just chill out and relax. It's a TFT 35 though. And that basically acts as a direct replacement for this particular module. So it should fit in there nicely. So we're going to unbolt that. I might as well just do that now. So I might get a new logo printed from that, the Happy Ender. We'll see. I'll speak to some of my friends about that in the printing world. Okay. So let's just have a look at the bottom of this without smashing the bed off. So here we are. Obviously, this is the ribbon for the TFT. That's going to be a bit big, so let's get a slightly smaller one. Let's try and undo some of these little babies. No, got to find the right size. It's going to be this one, surely. Of course it is. There we go. Also, this printer is so simple as well. You know, it wasn't a difficult printer for them to make. So the parts on it are just easy. It's easy to maintain. It's easy to replace parts if you need to. Again, just getting into the box here. If you are uncomfortable about getting your hands involved with electronics, make sure you're accompanied by an adult who knows what they're doing. Or just make sure that you're not plugging stuff in and close your eyes when you turn the switch on. It's entirely up to you. So as you can see behind me, I've got a number of printers in here. These are the Anycubics. I'm just about to put a video out on this one because I've just upgraded these today. It's got a TMC 2208 drivers in it, which makes it silent. This one is still quite noisy. This one here is the V2, Ender3 V2. This one is another Pro. And then over there, I've got the CR6. I've got the BQBX. I've got another Ender over there. And then I've got the Q5 up in the corner. And then, of course, this one as well. And oh yeah, I've got a CR10S5 here as well, which has been upgraded. So there's another couple in the house, and there's also the RatRig V-Core as well. And I've got a few videos up on that particular model, so definitely go and check those out if you feel the need to find out a little bit more about what I'm about and what I'm doing. So let's take this baby out here. So here we go. That was easy, wasn't it? Okay, so relatively simple board here. We're going to basically start unplugging stuff. So this is going to be for screen, and on the, let's just pull that one out. Oh, there we go. Right. So on this particular board here, as you can see, there is only one input, and there's also a proprietary board here, which is basically for the colourful TFT screen. So you can't use both of them at the same time. You can use one at a time, but it makes quite a nice difference. So I'll carry on using this. In fact, I'll plug it in straight away now. And the other cable that we're going to be using basically comes with the TFT, and that is, ping, here it is, this one here. Again, we just plug that one straight into the board here. Job done. Brilliant. Okay, so let's start unplugging some stuff and see what happens. What we'll do is we start by not using the wrong Allen key again. So the idea I think we're going to do with this is probably stick a Raspberry Pi on it as well, so I can use Octopi and not have to use any of the bits and pieces. This Wi-Fi module, I'm still a little bit kind of curious as to what their game plan is. And if you're looking at what Creality were doing, what they were talking about, they're talking about going cloud-based for the majority of their stuff, which is kind of like Octoprint, but Creality's version. So I'll be interested to see how they're going to think about locking that down, if they haven't done so already, of course. So everything's going on the cloud. So it's going to be very, very interesting long term, I think. Certainly with the development of some of these boards. Hopefully it'll open up some jobs and stuff for people as well. So let's have a look. Just make sure I'm not missing anything here. That looks all good. What I'm going to try and do is get a bit of a better zoom on. There he is. Okay, so let's move the camera over. Let's try and get this on camera. So it might look a little bit daunting, but there are a number of screws in here that you just simply need to undo. And there's another one just hidden behind here. Now, the good thing about the Creality boards and the wiring matrices that they put in here is that they've sort of done you half a favour, because these these cables here are already pre-numbered or pre-lettered. So we've got the X here, we've got the Y, the Z, and the extruder. Very, very simple. So everything's labelled on here already. So you've got your temperature for your nozzle, you've got temperature for your bed, you've got your Z stop, your Y stop, your X stop, and then there's a space, and then you've got power in here for what looks like, that's going to be your main inputs here, and that's going to be power for your bed, I'm assuming. Yeah, that looks right. And here's going to be power for your nozzle, I'd imagine. So again, it is a plug and play unit. So all I'm going to do is take this, pop it straight on top here, and start the whole process of screwing this back in again. Now it's a little bit difficult for me to be pointing this at the camera, but guys, all I'm doing here is plugging in a couple of screws. So let me just whiz through this. So here we are, it's plug and play, job done. That was easy. You're going to be plugging your motors into here, and then of course everything's labelled up along this line as well. And again, it is pretty much like for like. So they've even sort of copied the elements here of main power in and heated bed and nozzle and all that kind of crazy stuff. So that's quite nicely done actually. And I like the fact that you can unplug this one and plug that in. That's well done. Very good. Okay, so let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, it literally is like for like. So the only question mark that I have at the moment is going to be for this secondary fan, and I kind of feel like it needs to be on all the time. So I'm just going to double check exactly what that is there for, and obviously where that needs to go. The other thing I need to then plug in is going to be the steppers. So we've got X here, which literally plugs. There's a bit of glue on that one, so I'm going to take that off. And again, it's the same sort of situation. Then there's your Y. Then there's your E, although that one's going to be a Z there, isn't it? So we've got ZA and ZB, so we're going to just swap those around. So our E goes over to here, which is E for extruder. Again, the cables are really well placed in here. And then, of course, we're going to have ZA for the minute. And when we install the secondary Z module, or Z motor rather, that will basically go on that. And like I said before, these two are twinned with this particular driver, so you know, it's not going to cause you too many headaches when you go to program it. So there you go. Right then, what we do, let me just remove my tools for a second. What we'll do then is we'll step over very quickly now to, so here is the information on the electronics here. So we're just going to have a quick look at what they have here. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so TMC and the cooling. There's a bunch of information here. information on the boot sector, the boot screens, where you can buy it from here, technical specifications, which is obviously what we want to have a look at now. So, CNC fan, okay, interesting. Heater, hotbed, yeah, okay, that looks good. More information about the board, how these are called. Yeah, okay, this is what we talked about with sensorless homing earlier. The Wi-Fi module, which is all pretty self-explanatory. Okay, well that doesn't really give me any information on what I'm actually looking for. So let's have a look at the GitHub page, and let's have a look at the data sheet here. And this is for, I'm guessing this is going to be for the ESP module. Yep, big deal. That's for the micro USB. Yeah, that's no good. Let's try hardware, shall we? Right, let's have a look at the manual and see what it says in here, because I just want to make sure that if it is like for like, why? Hang on, what's this? Green light on the D2 fan series is indicated with the CNC fan. If light up when turned on, goes out when turned off. Green light on D4 status indicates the fan 1. The light's up when turned on, turn off. Okay. Okay, so this gives you the information on where to plug in the UPS, which I'm probably not going to do today, but I will do at some point. They have RGB lights as well, if you so wish to partake in that kind of craziness, and obviously BL Touch, which is phenomenal. Again, it's just a nicety of things to have. Let's just see. I'm just looking for pins on this, really, just to see where we're at. So fan 1 and 2 is here. But of course, as you've seen, we don't have a port on that because it's a hot pluggable part. Here's the Marlin information as well. Talks about sensorless homing, where to put all your bits and pieces into that. So again, more of the same really. Power loss and various other bits of information from Marlin as well, but they have already got this pre-compiled. So that's the size, there's information. Okay, so I don't think we're going to find anything in here actually, unfortunately. So we are now powered back on. However, we've got a small stumbling block. Everything is working as we expected it to. The cables for the fan still haven't been plugged in yet, but we're going to get to that a little bit later on. The main issue at the moment is that the board doesn't support the other LCD screens at the moment. So it does support the standard screen, and that's got a display on it at the moment, but I figured what we'd do is we'd try and see if we can kind of get this working. If not, then I'm going to have to leave this on here for now until they've developed a patch or some additional firmware for that particular part, which is a bit disappointing, but needless to say, we will persevere. And persevere we did, because we now have this working in Marlin mode at the very least. So the good news with that, of course, is going to be that we are going to make this work for now, and I'm still going to be able to print with it and all that kind of crazy stuff, and I'm hoping this board's going to be fantastic. So let's put this back together and let's hit that print button. like that. Right, let's give it a little tidy up. Hey, that's pretty damn good. So, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the result. Let's try and get some zoom on this. Come on, focus, focus, focus. There he is. That is the best calibration cat that I've printed today. It's not bad. I like it. There's a couple of little artifacts in there, but let's compare the new BIGTREETECH board here on the Ender3 with the one that I got from Anycubic earlier. Yeah, I think that from the looks of it, I'd say that the Ender one is actually much better, as you can see. You've got a lot of kind of ghosting and stuff on this one here. So look on the sides. Got a little line here. Again, it's going to be mainly down to tuning. And you can definitely see the lines on this one now versus the ones on this. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Duck and a cat. What could possibly go wrong? So that, my friends, is the new BIGTREETECH board that's been fully installed in this in relatively a short space of time, just an evening mainly. I'm going to be back in a couple of weeks' time with yet more upgrades, printed, new parts, all kinds of stuff that I'm going to be putting into this. So we will see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Really helps me out, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Happy printing.